Well, I guess it's not quick. Okay. Name one barrier your organization has in terms of equity. Money, access, dominant ideology. Inequity in arts reflects society at large. The Amy Project supports women and non-binary youth to tell their stories with honesty, integrity, and rigor through arts. Nikki Shafiula speaks of containers, constructed spaces and working cultures that respond to those within it. Making space for the margins to join in the mainstream. There are no shortcuts to building relationships. Going beyond priority groups and checking boxes, it's enticing, it really is, but give up the temptation to tokenize. A group needs to make space for the margins or it will die. This is container building, a process of healing and learning and building trust. Do artists and communities trust you? Who is at your table for dinner? The neighbors you always knew or those you want to include? Do the leaders know what you want to produce? Who's not at the table? Can they knock at your door? Do you like to say, we should get together sometime, but never make a plan or a date? It's the difference between meeting up and walking to the place together and saying, just go Google it. And isn't it exciting to think of who else could be on your team? Be transparent in why you are reaching out. Why now? Have multiple channels for communication so it's not an uphill street. Leave 1 or 2 doors open for people to reach out, let their numbers be known, leave the lights on. Have picnics over policies so that everyone knows what's up. Break it down into something that makes sense. It's challenging and it's dense, but it's possible, it's priority. How can you make space for these conversations continually? And when you ask the questions, be ready to respond. We get trapped in the fear of affordability and rejection. Find ways to see around the fear. And if someone is speaking in secret, don't dismiss it as gossip. Ask, why haven't I made it possible to talk to me? Don't cling to your marginalization. There is power that you can see. Leave space in your schedule, space in your budget, space for conflict, for breathing, rearranging, funds for lighting, childcare, training, interpretation. We're taught that diversifying will hurt artistic quality, but until we confront these fears, we won't be able to change. So spend time with your fears to transform the status quo into a more creative, artistic landscape. So we're gonna shake things up now. We're gonna shake things up. We're gonna decenter. Enter Kevin A. Ormsby. Let's ask some questions from the way we're sitting, all facing the front, to the words we use, like classical dance. Who owns that? Classical from where, Kevin would ask. Yes, it's gonna get uncomfortable, but we're gonna turn discomfort into inquiry. So instead of being mad at the gossip, ask, why is this issue happening in this space, in this place, at this time? Why is it being mentioned? Again, with pluralism, we ask, who is not in this room? Who would have made it here if they had the invite and the map? In Halifax, they asked, how long have you been here? And Kevin said, since the Maroons been kicking up a rumpus and were sold to Nova Scotia for codfish. We've been here, and your organization is on my street, but do your boards reflect the communities in which you live? You can't have one black guy speaking for everybody. You have 3. 1 person is tokenism, 2 is parity, 3 is equity. When you have 3, then you can see the connections, the variances, the differences. How intimately do you want to understand everybody in the room? That's equity. How can we sing equity as a song that never ends? Yes, it goes on and on, my friend, but don't feel down. Don't beat yourself up. You're doing good work. It's just that you can do better. We can do better. Like, we can share resources for free on our websites. We can start at the grassroots for transformational changes. As artists, we have more than we choose. We have more resources than we choose. I can ask who I can partner with. They can help us, we can help you. How are we reacting? How are we creating meaningful cross-platform relationships? It's not just a checkbox. We've been checking boxes for way too long in this country. Think about that box before you check it. Decenter, decenter, decenter. Shake it up from when you walk into the room. Look at the people and say hello. Reach out to your neighbor now and say hello. Now don't that feel good? Now that we've decentered, let's build a team of accessibility that plans for diversity in race, orientation, color, and ability. Picture this. Image 1, black bobs form a giraffe. Image 2, is it a duck or a rabbit? Once your brain makes the flip, you cannot unsee it. Our brains have the power to draw conclusions from the same material. We can see or not see things that are right in front of us. What are we going to see? What are we going to shift? What are we going to center? Center accessibility in your agenda rather than it being an afterthought. What is disability? The medical model says something is wrong. Impairment is seen as limitation. Both need to be fixed, but the social model says disability is caused by how society is designed and organized. From this perspective, design can be community building. If we build it differently, then all can come. It's like playing with blocks and making it so that everyone can come to your party. Why not build ramps from the start so those in wheelchairs can come in? Why not break up all the sitting time for some dancing and stretching and singing? Why is it the mature thing to sit down for 4 hours straight? Like it's some kind of competition. No, break it up, shake it up. We all need some adjustments at times, like those who wear glasses have impairments in their eyes. Now imagine if all text was written in size 6 font. Just thinking about that. Do I need to go on? Listen closely to what people tell you about themselves. It's not enough to believe in inclusion without trying to make it happen. It can seem like an insurmountable task, but that's not always the case. There's probably something that you can do this week, or maybe even today, like caption your images, make your art studios more affordable throughout the year, seek the beauty in the non-normative, the so-called ugly. Learn to be ready for moments of opportunity to change barriers. When they arise, act. It is better to make changes that you can maintain and sustain. Make it so that people want to come back. When you make a mistake, don't get your back up, don't get defensive. It's not so much about you as about lifetimes of social unfairness. Consider that. In that moment, you have a means to take a slice of the unfairness off of someone's shoulders. The chance to make change has always been there. You may not see it at first, but look closer.